Morning all. I'm down in the Southern Highlands for the weekend. Not in the hammock actually, we're van camping this time. There she is, the silver wombat in all her glory. But I thought it'd be a good chance to change the suspension on my Hennessy hammock, and I can show you how I do it in the meantime. Cool, let's do it. So what I've got currently is the factory Hennessy hammock suspension system. These consist of 2-inch webbing tree huggers. These are about 1 metre long each, which is attached to quite a thick rope, which uses a sort of knot prescribed by Hennessy, which is a bit like a fisherman's knot, goes round and round and through. And that comes down to these little snake skins, which cover the internal knots connecting to the hammock. It also comes with a little prusik hitched plastic carabiner, and that's for attaching your rainfly directly to your suspension. I'll discuss the reasons for why I'm changing this. Let's get to it. Go away clouds. Thank you clouds. Okay, so what I'm doing today is subbing out my current tree hugging straps and rope on my Hennessy for 10 metres of 1-inch webbing with carabiners to connect it. Let's look at the reasons why I prefer this. The first reason is to do with the thickness and weight of these straps. 2 inches thick is what Hennessy uses because some states in the US by law require this out of fear of damaging trees. In reality, 1 inch is totally fine. If in doubt, you can always go around the tree twice with this stuff to completely satisfy yourself that that is okay for the tree. Because these are so thick, they also come in at quite a heavy weight. 1 metre of this is 100 grams, whereas this is 18 grams a metre. You can have far more of this for the same weight as this. Because this is only 1 metre as well, when you put in a loop, leaving some room for your connection, you're left with a tree that's maybe only 1 foot or 30 centimetres thick. But you often be times you want to go around a tree that's slightly bigger than this, and these are real pain. That's why I want to change them. The last reason is to do with this rope and the knot that Hennessy prescribes for suspending these. The knot is quite time consuming and hard to undo, and because putting your hammock up is such an iterative process, this can take 5 minutes of loading your hammock, checking it out, getting comfortable. Unless you're an absolute whiz and can do it in one go, I'm going to much prefer these with an adjustable carabiner system. If you're worried about the load going into your suspension, check out my previous video on how to do the maths on that. I also have another previous video on taking this exact webbing to its ultimate forces. You can see it's still frayed there, and why I now trust this completely with my hammock load. Alright, let's see how to do this. So the first thing you want to do is remove this snake skin here, which covers the knot between the rope and the hammock itself. Be careful when cutting this, not to cut any fabric in your hammock. It's pretty hard, maybe use a knife or some needle nose scissors. Okay, pulling back your snake skin, you'll find that you've got this knot. It then goes around a little bit of webbing here, and it's tied in what looks like a sheep's bend. Let's go ahead and undo that. Okay, that's now out, and we're left with just our webbing loop. Now you can either put your carabiner straight through there, or you can put your webbing through here. Now I'm going to cut about 1 metre of this webbing to make a continuous loop out of it. This end's a bit frayed from my previous webbing test. Check that video out. Let's say that much webbing. That's maybe 50 centimetres or 1.5 foot. Now let's burn the ends of this so that the ends don't fray. You can tie a continuous loop with your webbing with a sheep's bend. Now to do a sheep's bend, you do a simple overhand knot, and you do an overhand knot in the other direction, and feed one end through your first overhand knot. When you tighten this, you get an extremely tight knot that'll be very difficult to undo. Likewise, you can then attach your carabiner in the same way. There you have it, a continuous loop in webbing and your carabiner. I'm now going to cut our suspension webbing in half, so we have 2 equal lengths at each end of the hammock. And I'll burn those ends as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is tie a carabiner onto the end of each suspension webbing as well. So I'm going to do a figure 8 knot to connect that. I prefer a figure 8 knot over an overhand knot because it's easier to undo, but equally tight. You take your length of webbing, fold it in half. You then go to tie an overhand knot, but instead take your webbing around for a full rotation and then back through the hole. There you have it. There's your figure 8 knot. We can now put a carabiner in that and it's not going anywhere. Like so. Now you've got your webbing with a loop and an optional carabiner. We can go ahead and throw that around the tree. And if you have the carabiner, you can clip straight on. Alternatively, if you want to save a bit of weight, you can lose the carabiner. I'll do that now. And you can feed this free end straight through your loop. It's just as easy, to be honest, and saves away the carabiner. Okay, now to connect my suspension to my hammock, I've got a couple of options. I can do a marlin spike hitch, which is nice and easy. I make a loop, then I feed my hand through that loop and grab the tree end, then my carabiner goes in there. It's nice and tight. There's also a more adjustable option, and that's doing a cow hitch or a prusik hitch. Also quite easy. Hold your webbing in a loop like that and your fingers and pull it into that sort of prusik / cow hitch shape, and you can feed your carabiner straight through there. Now that you've got that set up, this is also quite adjustable. You just simply pull the top of it up and then pull the end you want to pull through. Now I've moved further towards the tree. If I want to move even further towards the tree, I'll do the same thing again. I'll hold the tree end and pull the other end, and I'm further up. The final little trick has to do with the rainfly, and the old hammock rope had a prusik hitch, a little plastic carabiner on the rope. We can remove that and put that onto our new webbing and it'll serve the same purpose. Here's when I took off the other end. I'll just go around here twice and do a prusik knot, like that. And then that works the same as it used to. It won't pull down unless you slide it down. And you can go ahead and connect your rainfly directly to that. And there you have it. I can tighten that straight back up and I've got that. A big advantage of doing this is now I can remove my hammock while keeping my rainfly up. Oh, put it upside down. And put that away, and in vice versa, I can get to camp, put my rainfly up with my my tree strap and connect to my hammock straight away, like so. So yeah, there's my my Hennessy hammock suspension modification. Hope you liked it. See you next time. Cheers.